My name is Grace, and for a brief moment, I thought I had found my happily ever after. Henry entered my life like a dream, handsome, caring, and full of charm. We met on a sunny afternoon at a local coffee shop, and it didn't take long for me to fall for his kindness and attentiveness. Within 3 months, we were married in an intimate ceremony. His family welcomed me with open arms. His mother, Elizabeth, treated me like the daughter she never had, and his sister, Amelia, became a fast friend. Life was perfect, or so I thought. A month into our marriage, Henry sat me down with a grave expression. His mother was sick, he explained, her life hanging by a thread due to liver failure. None of their family members were a match for a transplant, not even Amelia. "I don't want to ask this of you," he said, his voice trembling. "But you're my wife, Grace, and I don't know who else to turn to." Without hesitation, I agreed to be tested. Of course I did. I loved him and his family. To my relief and pride, I was a match. The surgery was scheduled, and I spent hours convincing myself that this sacrifice was an act of love, that I was saving a family that had embraced me so warmly. The recovery was grueling. I woke up in the hospital, my body weak and stitched together, but I told myself it was worth it. Henry visited me once, his smile strained, and stayed for only a few minutes. Days passed, and his absence became more noticeable. Then the bombshell dropped. A nurse handed me a packet containing divorce papers. Confused and heartbroken, I refused to believe it until Amelia arrived to deliver the final blow. "Henry wanted me to tell you," she said, her tone pitying but cold. "He's been struggling with how sickly you've looked. He can't handle it. He thinks it's best if you go your separate ways." Her words were a knife to my chest. I'd given a part of myself, literally, to save his mother, and this was my reward? After I was discharged, I began to piece together the truth. Rumors reached me through whispers and social media posts. Amelia wasn't Henry's sister. She was his lover. They had orchestrated the entire relationship to secure a liver donor for Elizabeth. And I had fallen for it. When I woke up that morning, everything felt off. The sunlight streaming through my bedroom window was the same golden hue as always, but something in the air seemed different. My head buzzed with memories I shouldn't have. Memories of betrayal, pain, and heartbreak that felt too vivid to be a dream. I sat up in bed and froze when I caught sight of the date on my phone. 2 years earlier. I was back in time in my old apartment long before I met Henry. The realization hit me like a tidal wave. I didn't know how or why this had happened, but I knew one thing for sure. I had a chance to change everything. No longer was I the naive woman who fell for his charm and gave up everything for love. This time, I would not only protect myself but also make sure he could never hurt anyone again. It was a sunny afternoon when I first met Henry. I remembered the day perfectly, how he accidentally bumped into me at the coffee shop, knocking my coffee onto the floor. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," he said, his voice laced with sincerity as he crouched to pick up the empty cup. "Let me buy you another one." "Please." "I insist." I had been flustered then, but not now. Watching him approach, I saw through the calculated charm in his smile and the way his dark eyes sparkled just enough to seem inviting but not intimidating. As he accidentally knocked into me, I stepped back before his coffee could spill. "No harm done," I said curtly, dodging his invitation with a polite nod before walking away. He called after me, "Wait. At least let me make it up to you." I didn't turn around. My heart raced, not with nerves but with triumph. The first trap was avoided. For weeks, I kept a careful distance while quietly observing Henry from the sidelines. He was just as I remembered, smooth, polished, and far too good to be true. It wasn't long before I noticed Amelia, his so-called sister, appearing in the background. Her interactions with him were far too intimate, her gaze lingering in a way no siblings ever should. I wasn't going to let this slide. One evening, I followed them to a quiet cafe on the outskirts of town. Hidden behind a potted plant, I listened as they spoke in hushed tones. "She'll be perfect," Henry said, leaning back with a smirk. Amelia sipped her coffee. "She fits the profile. Sweet, caring, and gullible enough to fall for you." My stomach churned, but I stayed silent, recording their conversation with my phone. It was all there, their twisted plan to lure in women who could act as donors for Elizabeth, their mother. Amelia wasn't his sister at all, but his lover and partner in crime. I waited for the perfect moment to act. That moment came when I saw Henry charming a new target, Clara. She was everything I had been: naive, hopeful, and oblivious to the storm heading her way. Determined to protect her, I approached her at the cafe, where she and Henry often met. She was alone, sipping a latte, her eyes dreamy as she likely replayed his empty promises in her mind. "Clara?" I said gently, pulling out a chair. She looked up, startled. "Yes. I know you don't know me, but I need to talk to you. It's about Henry." Her brows furrowed. "What about him?" Taking a deep breath, I placed my phone on the table and played the recording of Henry and Amelia's conversation. Clara's face drained of color as their words filled the air, confirming every fear I could see forming in her mind. "That's not all," I said, sliding a folder toward her. Inside were photos I had uncovered of Henry and Amelia together, kissing, holding hands, and attending events as a couple. "He's not who he says he is. And Amelia isn't his sister. She's his lover." Clara stared at the evidence, tears pooling in her eyes. This can't be real. "He loves me." "I thought the same thing," I said softly. "But he doesn't. He only sees you as a means to an end." With Clara on my side, we went to the press. The journalist I contacted was eager to break the story, and within days, Henry and Amelia's faces were plastered all over the news. Headlines called them the perfect couple of deception, detailing their history of targeting vulnerable women. The public outrage was immediate. Women who had been targeted before me came forward with their stories, adding fuel to the fire. The police launched an investigation, and Henry, Amelia, and Henry's mom, Elizabeth, all went into hiding, their carefully crafted world crumbling around them. The day the police arrested them was the first time I felt truly free. I stood outside the courthouse, watching as they were led away in handcuffs. Henry's once charming face was twisted with anger as he glared at me. "You'll regret this," he spat. I met his gaze without flinching. "No, Henry. I'll finally sleep at night." My second chance at life wasn't just about avoiding Henry's trap. It was about reclaiming my power and helping others do the same. Clara and I became close friends, bonded by shared pain and a determination to move forward. As for me, I learned to love myself again. I pursued dreams I had set aside, built a life I was proud of, and eventually opened my heart to someone who truly valued me. Looking back, I wasn't grateful for the pain Henry caused me, but I was grateful for the lesson it taught me. This time, I was the author of my story, and I made sure it had the ending I deserved.